What if I told you that Samsung is quietly planning one of the biggest changes in its mid-range strategy, and most people haven't even noticed it yet? The Galaxy A57 is not just another yearly refresh. This phone represents a shift in how Samsung wants its series to look, feel, and compete in a market that is getting more aggressive every single year. In a world where even cheap phones are starting to look premium, Samsung can no longer afford to play safe, and the Galaxy A57 might be the proof that they're finally ready to fight back properly. For years, the series has been about balance, decent performance, good cameras, and strong battery life, but also about compromises. The Galaxy A57 looks like it wants to change that image. The first thing you'll probably notice is the design. Instead of separate camera rings, Samsung is expected to move to a single camera island. This may sound like a small detail, but visually it completely changes how the phone looks. It makes the back feel more unified, more modern, and much closer to what we usually see in higher-end devices. This is Samsung saying, why should only expensive phones look premium? And once you start thinking about it, this design choice makes a lot of sense. Phones today are not just tools, they're fashion items, social media accessories, and daily companions. The Galaxy A57 is expected to look more confident, more refined, and more intentional than previous series phones. It's not trying to scream for attention, but it's also not trying to hide the fact that it wants to look expensive. Now let's talk about the cameras, because this is where most people decide whether a phone is worth buying or not. The Galaxy A57 is expected to come with a 50-megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization, and that is a very big deal in this segment. OIS means sharper night photos, more stable videos, and better overall reliability. Alongside it, we're expecting a 13-megapixel ultra-wide camera and a 5-megapixel macro camera, and on the front, a 12-megapixel selfie camera. This setup is not about chasing crazy numbers. It's about giving you consistent and dependable results in real life, whether you're taking photos of people, food, landscapes, or recording videos for social media. Video recording is expected to go up to 4,000 at 30 frames per second, which is more than enough for most users. And let's be honest, most people don't need 8K or 4K at 60 anyway. What they need is stable, good-looking footage that doesn't fall apart in low light. And that's where OIS and Samsung's image processing usually make a real difference. But the biggest story of the Galaxy A57 might actually be the display. Samsung is expected to make a very important change here by moving to flexible OLED panels. This means slimmer bezels, better symmetry, and a much more modern front design. For a long time, Samsung's mid-range phones looked slightly outdated from the front compared to some cheaper competitors. With the Galaxy A57, that could finally change. The phone could look almost like a flagship when you turn the screen on, and that is a huge psychological upgrade for buyers. A high refresh rate, likely 120 Hz, will make everything feel smoother, from scrolling social media to switching between apps. Once you get used to a smooth display, it's very hard to go back, and Samsung knows this very well. Now let's move to performance. The Galaxy A57 is expected to use the Exynos 1680 processor. This chip is not designed to break benchmark records. Instead, it's designed to give you stable, efficient, and reliable performance throughout the day. That means less heating, better battery efficiency, and more consistent speed after months of use. For most people, this matters much more than a phone being slightly faster in a 5-minute benchmark test. Daily tasks like browsing, watching videos, multitasking, and even gaming should feel smooth and controlled. And combined with Samsung's software optimizations, the overall experience should feel mature and well-polished. Battery life is another area where the Galaxy A57 is expected to stay strong. A large battery, most likely around 5,000 mAh, should easily get most users through a full day and possibly even to days with moderate usage. Charging may not be the fastest in the industry, but Samsung usually prefers safe and stable charging over risky ultra-fast solutions, and that's actually better for long-term battery health. And then there's software support, one of Samsung's biggest hidden weapons. The Galaxy A57 will almost certainly come with the latest Android and One UI, and it will receive years of updates and security patches. This means you're not just buying a phone for today, you're buying a phone that will stay secure and usable for a very long time. When you look at the Galaxy A57 as a complete package, it starts to feel less like a typical mid-range phone and more like a smart, long-term investment. It's not trying to win with one crazy feature. It's trying to win by being good at everything that actually matters in daily life. So the real question is not whether the Galaxy A57 will be good. The real question is whether Samsung will price it smartly. If they do, this phone could easily become one of the most popular mid-range devices of its generation. The Galaxy A57 feels like Samsung finally understanding that in 2026, good enough is not enough anymore. People want their phones to look premium, feel smooth, last long, and stay updated for years. And from everything we're seeing so far, the Galaxy A57 is being built exactly for that future. If you want to stay updated on the Galaxy A57 and all the latest smartphones, make sure you're subscribed to Tech Insights, because we keep things simple, honest, and focused on what really matters.